It was a typical workday for James. Susie was at her desk, sorting through her papers, trying to direct people towards their appointments. It was typical of her. Daryl was waiting by the water cooler, the cacophony of office chatter blurring together, individual words indistinguishable. Quite typical for him. Yes, it was all quite typical, except for the strange figure lurching in the corner of the office. It was in the corner furthest away from James, and he had to squint to even see him. But sure enough, the figure was there, standing still as stone, drawing no attention to itself. It was unnerving, but James figured his eyes were warping the frame of a rather tall co-worker, or maybe a coat rack with enough clothes to look human. He decided not to stare, in case he seemed rude, and carried on with his daily work routine for the rest of the day. His shift was coming to a close, so he readied himself for the journey home. To get home, James had to get to the ground floor, walk 2 blocks down to the subway, catch the train, and walk the last block home. It was all part of his lifestyle. The walk gave him some much needed exercise, the train ride gave him some time to plan out his evening, and the last walk gave him some time to be excited for whatever he planned. As soon as it was time to leave, James picked up his briefcase, waved goodbye to his co-workers, and headed to the stairs. Because he worked on the 3rd floor, he could take the elevator, but he often opted to walk down the stairs for his health. On the way down, something caught James's eye. It was only for a brief moment, but he knew he saw something. He couldn't quite tell what it was, as it was moving too quickly. James stood there, brow furrowed, but persuaded himself it was a co-worker who'd left before him. He walked down the stairs and breezed through the 2 blocks, which made him proud. Before he started his healthier lifestyle, that walk tired him out a bit. While on the train, James thought about what he'd do that evening to wind down. He decided he was going to watch a movie and cook up something nice to eat. He walked the rest of the way home and did just that. Dripping. The unmistakable sound of dripping pierced the silence of the room. At first, James only opened his eyes a slither, trying not to fully wake up. But as soon as his eyes focused on the wall, he realized the wall he was looking at was not from his bedroom. He jolted awake. He tried to sit up and look around the room, but couldn't. It felt as if he had a large weight keeping him down. He turned his head and saw his wrists were bound to the corners of what looked like a dirty, stainless steel table. Although he couldn't see, he knew his ankles were tied down in the same way. A loud click came from his right, so he cocked his head to see what it came from. An ear-shattering screech followed as a large metal door slowly swung open. The breeze from the door and the air that flew in from the dark room beyond it brushed over James's body. He became aware that he was stark naked. "Who's there?" James yelled towards the darkness. No response. He gritted his teeth in anger. As soon as he did, footsteps echoed through the room. A figure, standing just over 6 foot, wearing what looked like a tattered doctor's outfit, stumbled into the room in an erratic manner, grabbing the doorframe for balance. Whatever it was, it didn't have much sense of stability or direction. Fear stirred inside James. All of a sudden, the creature regained its composure and stood firmly upright. Now that it was still, James could finally see what the thing was. For whatever reason, it was wearing a dirty doctor's outfit. Clutched tightly in its right hand was a rather rusty and dull-looking scalpel. The left hand was still holding the door frame, though just barely now that it was standing firm. Despite the scenario, despite the confusion, despite the dangerous weapon, what really sent chills down James's body was the creature's face, or lack thereof. Instead, all that could be seen was a grey, veiny layer over a humanoid-shaped head. No ears, no eyes, no nose, no anything. The creature hobbled its way over to James. All the while, James could do nothing but watch the thing slowly approaching him. He struggled against his binds, but the noise created only made it easier for the thing to head towards him. The creature slammed its left hand down on the metal table, the sound resonating through James's ear, making him cry out in pain. In sporadic and jerky movements, it moved its hand to the edge of the table and used it to guide itself lower until its face was level with James. Silence fell. James tensed up so much he stopped breathing. Chilling moments passed. It didn't take long before the need to breathe far exceeded his need to stay quiet. James let out a huge gasp, followed by a sharp inhale. The creature's face bubbled at the sound. A patch of skin ripped open to reveal a grey eye on the right side of its face. The eye darted frantically around. It seemed the creature didn't know how to use it properly, but it didn't take long for it to focus on James. James struggled against his blinds as hard as he could, but the edge of the rough ties tore at his skin. That didn't help him. The creature jammed the scalpel into the lower part of James's neck and ran it straight down to his lower abdomen. It felt like a line of cool liquid pouring down his body, before turning into a sharp pain, worse than any he'd ever felt before. The light of consciousness soon faded to black. Loud, unexpected beeping tore into James's ear, making him jolt upright. Adrenaline set in as the memories from earlier flooded his mind. Frantically, James rubbed his body where the knife went in. Nothing. He checked his wrists for marks. Nothing. With the klaxon of noise still blaring, James looked to his bedside table to see his alarm clock flashing the time 7 a.m. over and over. It was time to get ready for work. Hesitantly, James did so, his mind flicking back to what he now knew to be a nightmare, albeit a vivid one. It didn't take long for him to get his routine back in motion and head to work. The dream still played on his mind on his way to work. He thought over what it could have meant, or what could have caused it. Stress, maybe. As soon as he entered the building, James resolved that he had to focus on what was important at hand, and that was work. Through working and trying to meet deadlines, the whole event soon escaped James's mind. He was so enveloped in his bubble of numbers and Word documents that he almost missed that his shift was almost over, so he packed away his essentials and made his way out of the building. The fresh air was welcoming compared to the stuffy, stale air of the office. As it was nearing winter, it was already getting dark, despite it being just past 5 in the evening. Taking advantage of the fresh air, James slowed down for his 2-block walk to the subway. He decided to take in the surroundings, something he never really did for a place he'd seen too many times to count. To his right was a metal fence, blocking off a kid's playground. He thought the lack of kids would make the scene look desolate, but in the light of the moon, the scene painted a different picture in his mind. To his left was a chain of small outlet shops that were closing for the night. As a certain time hit, The momentum of the city and everyone in it shifted. And then he saw it. At first, it was faint, barely noticeable, but it couldn't be denied. Through the reflection of the adjacent shop, he could see a tall figure towering over him from behind. James froze, not knowing what to do. He started shaking until his adrenaline took over. Tensing, he spun around to confront it. Nothing. James released the breath he'd been holding and took in a few slow breaths to compensate. "It's just my imagination. It's just my imagination," James repeated to himself. "It's just my imagination. It's just my—" He stopped. He could hear the faint rushing of liquid. His eyes widened as he turned. A single eye stared back at him. The sound was the blood rushing within the veins of the creature's head. James dashed down the road, heading towards the subway. Soon he saw people, probably on their way home from work, and immediately felt relieved. The creature was nowhere to be seen. Still shaking, James took a seat in the train. No one was concerned or even bothered to see if he needed help, despite him showing obvious signs of mental trauma, typical train etiquette in the city. Hastily, James made his way home, knowing once there, he'd be safe. As soon as he stepped inside, he slammed the door and used all the locks. Satisfied, he shakily made his way to the kitchen to fix up any snack he could. So much adrenaline had left him a trembling wreck of his usual composed self. He rummaged around in his fridge and ate a few slices of bread, washing it down with milk. It wasn't ideal, but it was enough for now. James slumped down on his couch and lazily flicked the TV on. He barely had the energy to change the channel, so he ended up watching reruns of cooking shows for the rest of that evening. Eventually, the exhaustion got to him, and he passed out. Heavy eyes slowly lifted. It was still dark, nothing but the TV illuminating the room. Out of a curious instinct, James reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. 2:14 a.m. He attributed his sudden waking up to the twisted position he was in on the couch. He peeled himself off and turned to shut the TV off. The face of horror stared back. The creature's pale eye blinked, and the figure moved off screen to reveal a backdrop of static. James stopped breathing. He didn't know whether or not to turn the TV off, and if he did, would the creature go away? But the TV was the only source of light in the room, and if it went off? A few moments had passed, and James was satisfied that the thing wasn't coming back. With haste, he flicked on the light switch and turned off the TV. For the rest of the night, James lay in bed with the lights on. He didn't get much sleep, and when he finally did, it felt like a mere blink before his alarm pulled him back. He pulled himself off the bed as if weighed down with bricks. Groggily, he went on with his morning routine. He took some warm coffee and a cold shower, but soon enough he was sprightly and awake. The rest of his preparations were easy after that, and that's what James focused on, trying to take his mind off things. James arrived at work, the usual 15 minutes early, which, considering his circumstances, gave him a sense of achievement. It didn't take him long to settle in at his desk and get his head into his work. A few hours into the morning, the night's escapades started to catch up with him. It was as if he had a weight stapled to his eyelids. Out of more reflex than choice, he kept rubbing his eyes, only making the tired feeling worse. He knew that leaning on his arms wouldn't help, but a subconscious part of him disobeyed that fact. His head drooped lower and lower and lower. But just before he fell asleep, he stood up. He didn't care how much of a fool he made of himself. He pranced on the spot, getting his blood circulating and his heart rate up. After a good 30 seconds of movement, James decided to inspect the room, to see how embarrassed he should feel for his strange behaviour. Shoulders relaxed and head dipped slightly, he turned to face his peers, only to see an empty room. Abandoned chairs were pulled out from under desks, computer monitors still illuminated with half-finished work. A slight beeping could be heard, the unmistakable sound of a phone left off the hook. Was this some sort of out-of-place joke? Did he somehow miss a fire alarm? James slowly circled the office. An investigation had to be done. A quick glance at a few computer monitors showed no signs of why anyone left, just emails half-typed. James put the phones left lying on the table to his ear, but the other line was already disconnected. He had just leant down to look in one of the bins, desperate for clues, when a slight bump caught his attention. His ears pricked up, trying to catch any noise. A minute passed before another bump came from the break room. Maybe that's where everyone is, he thought. But if everyone's there, they aren't making much noise. Bewildered, James crept to the break room and peered inside. Empty. A noise, this time a scraping sound, shot from another corner of the office. It sounded like someone catching their leg on a desk. More cautious this time, James picked up an office lamp from the nearby desk, but held it at his side, trying not to look intimidating in case it was a colleague. He didn't want to get into any trouble and ruin his currently perfect record with the company. James navigated to the corner the sound came from. There, on the floor, lay a small scalpel. Judging by the shade of the tip, it had been recently used. He leant to inspect it, and a large figure pounced in front of James. It wore some kind of cheap navy blue suit, tattered from overuse. James stumbled back and over something, crashing to the floor. He clawed across the floor before regaining his footing and taking shelter behind Daryl's cubicle. He flung the lamp at the creature just as its eye focused on him. The lamp ricocheted off the creature's chest and into a computer monitor, shattering and sputtering sparks. The creature merely blinked. James knew it was futile to fight, so he broke into a sprint away from the creature. As soon as he did, dread filled his stomach. The exit to the building was on the other side of the office, in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, the flimsy office cubicle walls were falling as easily as paper with the creature bounding towards him. James knew he couldn't outrun the thing, which was now almost caught up to him despite his head start. James kicked his foot forward to shift his momentum hard and slammed his hands against a desk, trading a brief slice of pain to turn the corner fast. The creature didn't have enough time to react, instead tumbling into the cubicle just ahead of James's turning point. In seconds, it was back on its feet and dashing towards James. The fastest way to the staircase was over the cubicles ahead, but although it was the fastest, it was also very risky. James darted to the desk ahead and kicked off its lip, bringing the other leg up to carry him over the flimsy cubicle wall. As he did, the creature caught James's back leg, slamming him face first into the desk. The world spun around James as the creature, still holding onto his leg, dragged him off the desk, threw him to the floor, and pulled him even closer. James knew how this would end if he didn't do anything quick. Fighting the dizziness, he reached up and threw whatever his hand touched first at the creature. A bin filled with small bits of paper bounced off the creature's head. While it was distracted, James hit the hand gripped around his leg with 3 sharp kicks, forcing it to let him go. He jumped up as the creature recoiled in pain and crept around the desk, but it swiped at his back foot, causing him to stumble. James turned as he fell, landing on his own office chair. As he did, the chair turned slightly from the momentum and his elbows crashed onto his desk. A jolt shot through his body, and James's head shot out of his hands. Delirious, he stared around the room. He was back at his desk, sitting in his chair. Everything around him was normal. Everyone was where they were before, burrowing into their work, phones ringing in the distance, a normal office atmosphere. James sat there, stunned, dumbfounded at what he just witnessed, or thought he witnessed. It would be best to contain himself, so as to not cause a scene. His mind was already trying to convince itself that it was all a dream, but he had too many doubts. He took a deep breath through his nose, held it, and blew out of his mouth, following the standard practice of meditative relaxation. After a few more meditative breaths, he told himself he'd just fallen asleep. It was only a nightmare. The weekend started the next day, and that would give him enough time to recharge himself. All he had to do was get through this last day of work. "James." The whisper came from just ahead of him. James peered around the side of the wall in front of him. What he saw chilled him to his bones. Fear incarnate. The creature that plagued his dreams, that haunted his life, was walking towards his cubicle. No one else was reacting to this. Everyone was going about their day like they couldn't see what he was seeing. James pulled back, heart racing, hoping it hadn't seen him, but it knew where he was. James pulled his chair to the back of his cubicle, maximizing the space between him and the creature in case it were to block him in. He knew if he overreacted, everyone would notice. He glanced around his small office space for something to hold, anything at all, for security. It was too late. The thing was now standing at the only escape point. "James." A cold sweat ran down his head. He was exhausted. Too much had happened in too little time. He couldn't handle it. He picked up the nearest thing, a small cup filled with freshly sharpened pencils, and launched it at the creature. Pencils sprayed across its face and clattered to the carpet. He didn't wait to see how it affected the creature. He just curled up and broke down in the corner. The ambience of the office changed. Small mutters could be heard, whispers in the distance. Condolences were given, a chorus of, "Are you okay? And do you need any help?" But they weren't being given to James. James looked up from where he perched himself. His boss, Amy, young but good at the job, clutched her face and moaned in pain as co-workers crouched over her. James's eyes widened as he realized what he'd done. He tried to stutter out an apology, but there was no way he could talk himself out of this. It wasn't long before he was climbing through different levels of authority, each prying into every detail of the case. The more he explained what he did, the more insane it sounded. Eventually, it was decided he was to be put on a week's leave without pay while they investigated the situation. The walk home was slow. James made his way back to his apartment, the feeling in his stomach getting tighter and tighter as he walked. He soon arrived at his house. Home is a place where one should feel safe and secure, but that wasn't the case anymore for James. He was anything but relaxed. The tightness in his stomach spread to his chest. The stress was getting to him. Yesterday's incident made James's urge to watch TV no longer viable, and despite eating very little over the past few days, his appetite was long gone. All he wanted to do was collapse. After inspecting his bedroom, he grabbed a chair and placed the backrest against the door handle to block anything from coming in. The bed beckoned him. He pulled his sheets haphazardly over himself and tried to let go, calm down, and finally rest. A ringing resonated through James's ears, filling him with confusion. It couldn't be his alarm. It was Saturday. His alarm should be turned off. But what startled him even more was that it didn't sound like his alarm at all. It was a continuous ringing tone, reverberating from a distance. James lifted his head. He'd been sleeping on a desk. One of those old wooden desks people were brought up on in high school. It even had the universal standard of rough graffiti, etched in with a sharpened object, messy and rushed so as to not get caught. He was in a dirty old classroom which looked like it had been abandoned by civilization. There were still teaching supplies haphazardly shoved to the sides of the room, and an old abandoned blackboard covered in a thin layer of chalk dust stood against one wall. James stood up, catching his legs on the desk. He squeezed through it, realizing he'd far outgrown his old school desks. He took a step forward, almost slipping on a dark puddle. It was too dark to identify what it was, but from the texture and smell, he knew it wasn't good. Creeping slowly, he made his way to the only exit. James was quiet, but the floorboards were not. Despite this, he took his time crossing the room. The door was already open, so he poked his head through. Darkness engulfed either direction, so picking a path was more a gamble than a strategy. Neither way looked enticing, but hoping luck was on his side, he went left. Using the wall as a guide, he made his way down the corridor. Even though it was some time, with a lack of usable senses other than touch, it felt like seconds before he was at the end. At this point, barely anything could be seen. The only clear visual was the light behind him from the classroom he'd just left. His hand was no longer touching anything, meaning there was a left turn. That was the direction he took, as it was the only direction he knew. The path down the turn felt darker than the path before. There was no longer a light behind him as a guide for a safe return. Soon an opening presented itself to his left. Guiding himself along the wall, he followed the turn, always keeping contact with his hand so as to not get lost. By this point, James's eyes had adjusted to the darkness, and he was able to make out shapes around the room. From this, he could tell he was in another classroom. If what he was sensing was correct, he was at the back of the room. There was a standard pattern of student desks in front of him, and a larger teacher's desk at the other end of the room. Whilst making his way around, his fingers bumped into something small. After a moment, he recognized it as a light switch. James was pessimistic of the likelihood of it working, so he haphazardly flicked it, not thinking about the consequences. The room was set ablaze by the influx of raw light. James got a snapshot image of the room, before reflexively shutting his eyes. But what he saw stained his mind. There was one main colour of the image. It looked like fresh blood, smeared and splattered across the room at random. The liquid sank into the wooden furnishings, deep into the very grains of the wood. Neatly written in red on the blackboard was the phrase, "Feed me." But what really set James's adrenaline ablaze was what was sat in front of it. There, on the teacher's desk, in an old tweed jacket with mismatched stitched-on elbow patches, was the thing haunting his very existence. James forced his eyes open. Already the sensation was causing his eyes to water and lose focus. Despite this, James had figured where he wanted to go, and he didn't need to see clearly to get there. He swerved back through the door and immediately turned right. His eyes were now almost unable to see anything in the hallway due to the still imprinted image of that red classroom. James's hand grazed the wall for guidance, this time on his right. He ran so fast splinters of wood and paint chips sank into his skin, but it didn't matter. He knew what he needed to do. When the wall disappeared, James skidded and turned right, running toward the illuminated doorway. James made his way to the desk he woke up in and perched himself on the seat. There he sat, trembling and out of breath. Nothing. Everything fell silent. James furrowed his brow, confused, but he didn't have long to think. A sound was echoing slowly down the hall. Thud, thud, thud. The sound of footsteps grew nearer and nearer, in no rush at all. James looked down at the desk to see if it was the same one. It was. Thud, thud, thud. More footsteps. But then, silence. From the sound of it, the creature was at the door. James didn't know what to do. He thought to stand, but realized escape would be impossible. Instead, he stuck with his convictions. This is where he had to be to wake up. That's how it happened in the office. A hand gripped the door frame, and the grey head drew in, looking at James. Then, the creature did what James didn't expect. The sides of its cheeks twitched and slowly pulled up on each side. James stared in dismay, every second hoping he'd wake up. The creature didn't stop, and soon the skin around the mouth area began to stretch and then rip. A small split opened, and from inside came a small grumble, followed by a second split and a third. With each split, the sound grew. Soon, the split snapped and merged to reveal a mouth. Tears streamed down James's face as he watched. The creature, confused at first, opened and closed its mouth, testing it. After a few tries, the creature turned to James and smiled. James panicked. A last-ditch effort, he lay his arms down on the desk and rested his head on them, assuming the position he was in when he woke up as best as he could. James took a deep breath, held it, and released. Nothing. James took another deep breath, held it, and released. Still nothing. James raised his head. Warm air rolled across his face as the creature leant down mere inches from him, still grinning a mischievous grin, teeth sharpened to perfection, ripped skin hanging from its lips. Who are you?" James asked, shaking in fear, seeing no escape. The creature cocked his head to the side and, to James's surprise, growled back. "Somnio." "What do you want from me?" James yelled. The creature took in a raspy breath and hissed out, "Fear." James stared, silent, lost in thought as everything lined up. All the events leading up to now, all his decisions. All the while, the patch of skin where the creature's left eye should have been bulged, pulsing a few times before slowly tearing open. James's face relaxed and soon took on an odd smile, which turned into a large grin. A chuckle left his mouth, and before he knew it, he was laughing. The creature's smile dropped into what could only be described as confusion. Its recently formed eye was bloodshot and red, not having fully developed. A shocked expression then crossed its face. All the while, James laughed away. The creature's brow tensed as it grew genuinely angry. Its teeth clenched together. In one fast swipe, the creature plunged its claws into James's abdomen. James's chuckle weakened, but continued, as if he were a man possessed. The creature opened its mouth and clamped it across James's neck with animalistic speed. Time slowed for James. He knew he wasn't waking up from this, but he drew grim satisfaction from this last feat. He had severely ticked off this thing, the root cause of his pain over the last few days. With unnatural strength, the creature crushed his neck. And for James, the nightmare was over.